Hello and welcome to Goa 365 Story Behind the Story. This time we are back on the agriculture episodes, or rather the episodes on agriculture, wherein we have with us a very uh, self-motivated, very aware girl, Shwetakshi Mishra. She has been, no doubt, she has a family supporting her and she has her mentors, one of which is with her, Miguel Braganza, from a Deputy Director of Agriculture. But ultimately what she has done and what she is doing is what she has taken out, she has motivated herself to do their interest and the work. So I would like to start with one of the things that she has written a paper after introducing her. Shwetakshi and Miguel, welcome to our show. Miguel, could you small, very short intro of Shwetakshi, please?
I met Shwetakshi online for the online classes in urban gardening at Tempe College. It was a new thing for all of us, but to have a student who would volunteer to do things at home based on the classes that we conducted online was rare. And down the line I found that this is one student I have who's so motivated and has got such a strong volunteer spirit that should volunteer to do more things. I did not know her background, but I could see in the class her contribution was great, even added value to the course that I was supposed to teach. She was able to teach her peers quite a bit by presenting also on some days.
Okay.
And then I came to know that she has written papers which have been published both nationally and internationally. And recently she has a chapter on management, on scientific management in a book published at a national level. So this is one person who has been very active with her own drive and has got lots of achievements. COVID couldn't keep her down. She would produce lots of things at home, document it and present it as a PowerPoint presentation. We have met just for 4 practical classes, but even in those 4 practicals, she has done a lot. And if you look at her journal, the way meticulously she keeps the record and adds value to even what the teacher teaches. Exceptional. I have absolutely no hesitation in saying she's the best student I have ever had.
Wow.
So far.
That is big praise from Miguel, Shwetakshi. I've known Miguel for a very long time and he's not very forthcoming with his praise. Anyway, yeah, Shwetakshi, what struck me when we were talking earlier is about the paper, the research you've done on lifestyle changes. So I would like to start with that. What is your research and what are your findings in short, and how did you arrive at those findings on the lifestyle changes at present in Goa?
So my paper was on the changes pattern in Goan society. I have conducted a survey of 600 families and almost 100 doctors to know about the ideal lifestyle and compare it with the people who are living. So the comparison was on the basis of the foodstuffs which they consume and the dressing pattern, the working sectors, how are they performing, what sort of work are they performing. Then I have added also children into the lifestyle. So I have conducted almost 873 children from different schools to know what are they actually eating during the lunch break, and then compare it like statistically, analyze the differences between the doctor's suggested lifestyle and with the lifestyle which people are performing. And the results were really shocking because most of them couldn't consume or have an ideal lifestyle even to a little extent. When I could find out some of the reasons of it, one was of course the financial crisis. So I further conducted the work to know why exactly finance is being a problem. So I have went to different streets asking about the rates of the street food and the vegetables also the food which also the clothes which are available by stitching, because they are comparatively loose and we can adjust our sizes, and the clothes which are available directly. So I could find that there is a huge difference in the rates of the prices. So that is why people are unable in a way to adjust to a healthy lifestyle. That was my findings.
Okay, before we go into any more details, which are the technical details, I would like to know what do you define ideal lifestyle according to you?
Well, an ideal lifestyle would be a sustainable way to live, such that your the health as well as the emotional and mental state, the physical appearance would look good. That is the ideal lifestyle. But people deviate from it because they do not consume good food, so they suffer from different health disorders. Also, wearing tight dresses or wearing clothes which of synthetic fibers are often issues with skin rashes and other related stuffs. So the problems may not be seen directly, but over a period of time, it can cause a real issue. So that was the main reason why I conducted the work.
And what were your findings?
The findings was, of course, the lifestyle has a huge deviation as compared to the lifestyles prescribed by the doctors. So the best things which can be done is to actually look over these small aspects of work, so that the agencies or different sectors which are involved into this profession could understand that the actual need or the crisis of the people of why exactly they are not following the lifestyle.
What are
Good
the
life.
crises? What are the crises according to you? What are the reasons why people are not following? And what are they not following? Could you give examples? Like you talk about food, no doubt. But what is an ideal food one should eat? What it should not eat? In general, so that the audience will know exactly what you talk about.
So the food, like for breakfast, we know that it should be a heavy and a healthy breakfast. So, but people just run in their work, so they do not consume breakfast first at first place. Then, when the lunch time comes, the issues is they just remain in their office, or maybe in busy with the work. So either they skip the lunch, or they consume anything which is not relevant. It should have a proper pattern, or a balanced diet should be there, which is not seen. Also, there are most of the people belonging to a middle class family. They consume a lot of fats and lipids because the food source is canteens and other stuffs. So, and when the night time, the dinner should be light. They come to home, so usually they come across eating a lot of food, which is again not a good source.
Okay, fair enough. And what about the other thing? Like you spoke about emotional needs, X needs, Y needs. Is that also part of the lifestyle which you've done a survey? And are there issues even in that?
I have limited my work to financial and issues, mainly two of the issues, that is the dressing and the
Okay.
clothes. But I could further conduct more research with
Okay,
certain.
fine. Fair enough. Now on that, now you bringing it from the lifestyle changes, especially to this. Like Miguel, I would like you to put in a little bit of input, especially since you have been working from 9 to 5. You have been at business. You have been in various things. So could you put this in perspective? What Shwetakshi is talking about?
Absolutely.
She has poked a few holes in our present lifestyle, which I think everybody goes through. So could you put a little bit in perspective?
I think she's bang on target in saying that most of us skip breakfast. If you are a child going to school, then you tend to wake up late and then rush to school without having a proper breakfast. My own children would have maybe a cup of coffee, at the most half a loaf of bread, whereas you are supposed to have a bigger breakfast. The other thing that she has touched upon is the food that we eat has more of oils, whether you eat batat vada or samosas, or you eat bhaji, or you eat anything, it's very oily, which we shouldn't be eating, but we do eat. And of course, dinner time is the time you are at home, so you indulge.
Which is actually a bad time, right?
right time. You should be having a very light supper. What they say, you should eat like a king and then have your lunch as a commoner and have supper like a pauper. We actually eat dinner like a king or like a queen, which is just opposite of what is expected.
See, I want to know now, based on this lifestyle changes, the research you have done on these lifestyle changes. Now you've also done a little bit of work on this treating obesity through plants. So it's somewhat connected, right? So could you give us some details on that?
Well, it is not exactly connected because it
Okay.
was some research works which I have read and reported,
Okay.
whereas the lifestyle pattern was my own work which I have conducted. But
Okay.
still, I have found through some of the different herbs and species like corianders. Then there was Terminalia chibula, which is commonly called harar, one of the three of Trifellas, which can be used for actually inducing a good diet or even treating some of the disorders which are possibly arising due to the changing lifestyle food habits.
Okay. So how would that, see now ultimately if you're not going to, if your lifestyle changes, you're going to have a very heavy dinner, you're going to be putting on weight, right?
Yes.
That's going to be one of the findings that I'm sure you have got, or anybody with a little bit of common sense is going to tell you that if you eat and then you go to sleep or even after a couple of hours you're going to, so food, this obesity is a big issue in Goa. You felt in your this.
Yes, I because I have conducted survey from mostly middle class families, and I
Okay.
could see that though we always talk about issues of malnutrition, but people are also actually suffering from obesity.
Okay, why is that?
Because
According
yes, of course, the reason is the same of having an unhealthy diet and eating in like eating in a time which is not relevant. It should be proper.
explain unhealthy diet and time not relevant in detail, little bit of detail.
Usually, the time for the breakfast is around say 8 to 10 at max, and also
Okay.
for the lunch it should be around 12 to 2 because of uh, the natural secretions in the body or the HCl secretion. Also, the dinner timing should have been between at the most till 8, from 6 to 8. But due to this busy schedule, we usually don't follow up the timings, and in between also we tend to eat up certain things like there are snacks or there are some other stuffs which are being eaten while working, or sometimes they are not at all taken. So such variations in having food habits is not a good way to work. Also, what I could find was the issues were the household wives, they were mostly consuming food which is like preparing at home and then leaving out for their work. So they usually don't eat or have uh, proper timings for their food or even for dressing patterns. So that is one of the issues which I found.
Okay, yeah. Now Shweta, now to move on to something else. Now you have done a lot of work on hydroponics. You have done some work on if I may, plants in nuclear power. Now that's a little interesting topic. Could you just explain what exactly? I've heard about Jatropha, which can be used as a biofuel, but plants in nuclear power is something that is a little unique, little different.
Yeah, so
Shweta.
was one of my favorite works which I have done. I have presented this in our chiasma in the one of the competitions of our college. So the work was about the people have hypothesized that the nuclear power plants which are being made these days as part of the sustainable energy, they have a chance of radiating some of the nuclear powers which can be lethal for the human genes. They can cause mutations, if at all.
Okay.
So, based on this hypothesis, I have done a reviewed survey in which I could find some of the plants which have the ability of absorbing those nuclear radiations.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
suppose in World War II when the nuclear weapons were used, So the whole Japan was suffering with the nuclear radiations, which has still now causing a lot of issues with the gene mutations and people with disabled people. So if we could grow some plants like sunflowers, tomatoes, or even maize, then these plants, if they could be surrounded all the time near the nuclear power stations, then if the hypothesis of having those nuclear radiations being released is there, they will be able to absorb it, and it will be even more reliable, and there won't be any chances of having issues with the nuclear radiations.
What are the plants you said? Sunflower, maize,
Tomatoes.
tomatoes.
So, yeah, so
I
these
see.
were even used in Japan during for treatment or recovering from the weapons.
From nuclear radiation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, but basically, then once are you trying to say that these are the plants that absorb this radiation?
Yes, though
Okay.
nuclear radiations, not just spontaneously come out of a nuclear power plant, but still there are some people or some researchers which says that there is a possibility, like because nuclear technology is still new for us, so we don't know the future consequences which may happen. So in that case, in a pre-sampling way, we can always have a protection of these flowers or plants.
So in that case, then afterwards, what? But then anyway, you cannot consume those. I would assume, I'm a layman. I don't know any of this, but then you cannot consume those tomatoes and maize. You'll have to just keep them just for this, right?
These can be, of course, consumed, no,
They
because
can be consumed.
yeah, because the radiations are not actually coming up. It is just a backup source. That if suppose something happens, then we could, like, it is already protected in a way. But such things don't happen.
we don't know. It's happened. Chernobyl is there for us. We know that these things do happen. May not happen so often, but it do. They could possibly happen. And India is getting into nuclear power. There are so many. It's I mean, we're signing agreements on a lot of powers. Yeah. Now, Miguel, I just wanted to get back to you on these timings of people eating and also linked to obesity, because one of the points that we discussed with Svetakshi, specifically with timings, food habits, and obesity, which is a big thing. And I would like to go back to on this diabetes also, because with Svetakshi on those nanoparticles. But first, Miguel, to you.
Yeah, obesity and diabetes are two related things with our lifestyle. Especially now that we are all technology addicted, whether it's to the laptop or to the mobile or to the television, we tend to sit and eat while we are doing some other thing. So when you're watching TV, we tend to eat chips or chana or peanut or something, or chuda. Same thing when we are on the mobile. We have no feeling of satiation because our mind is not on our stomach. Our mind is on something which is there on our mobile or laptop or TV, and we are consuming. So the body doesn't connect and give you the feeling that you're full. It's time to stop. So you may eat half a kilo of chuda at a sitting, when in normal circumstances you wouldn't eat 200 grams. So you're tending to eat more than you require. The other part is, when we were children, we would be in the sports field. Soon after that, you'd rush off to play football, hockey, cricket, something or other. Today, everybody is sitting down and playing games on their mobile. There are so many. So there is no activity, there is no sweating. You don't burn calories. They are with you. The calories that you consume remain with you. They don't get burnt out. And so you tend to put on weight. And most of the pesticides that we have are all fat soluble. And when we put on weight, in Konkani we say charab chadja. So you're putting on fat. And in that fat, the pesticide is sitting and giving you diabetes, maybe cancer, maybe migraine headaches. All these are lifestyle related problems. And as Svetakshi will tell you, the reason why we introduced this course of urban gardening for biotechnology students is to learn about healthy food, about growing of vegetables and such things without pesticides, organically at home. because these pesticides that come into our food, along with the obesity, along with the diabetes, give us a whole lot of other problems. And so we need to focus on healthier food, and the urban gardening course is designed to give those who don't do agriculture course the enabling knowledge and skills to grow vegetables at home.
Fair
And
enough.
this
Go
is,
vegetables home or get into agriculture. Miguel, when we retire, let's get into agriculture and like become farmers. Yeah, that's. Now I want to sort of a tale I would want to add to what Miguel has been saying, Shwetakshi. Now you have done some a little bit of study research on these treatment of diabetes. Could you give us some details what exactly, because today diabetes is a big lifestyle disease, stress, hours, food, diet. So I mean a lot of people are diabetic. So is there some high tech sort of a treatment for diabetes, something that you've done some study on, Shwetakshi?
Yeah, so my study was not on some high-tech equipments which I used,
Okay.
rather the normal plants or herbs which we can consume, like corianders and some others like Terminalia chipula. So such sort of plants have been exploited. There are some seaweeds which have been found, which can be so their extracts can be taken with along with the food, so they will help maintain the regularity of the food items, maybe by increasing the metabolic rate or some other metabolic processes, so that we can, the body can self treat all obesity and related stuffs.
Related stuff like what? Like diabetes and all.
Diabetes, then even cancer, and sometimes there I have also studied about the methods or some newer methods which are designed to check whether the food substance has these pesticides or chemicals. So in if we could pre-detect their presence, then we won't consume them, of course. So such sorts of works are going on, which I report.
Yes. Now I want to know one thing. Now your father is a scientist. Now what do you want to be? Do you want to get into just research and this, or you actually want to get in? I mean, go and get your hands dirty and do something about it, or you want to stick to research and? I'm not saying it's wrong, basic, please, but I'm just asking, curious.
My ambition is to become a professor, so that
Okay.
I could study a lot with different children and I could explain them procedures. And of course, my inspiration is Mughal sir as well. He teaches us, he allows us to roam around and look over plants and also look at the nature and see what sort of experiments can be conducted out of it. So that is my aim.
Miguel, you have been mentoring a lot of out of the box thinking in youth, which is very commendable. We need this, because if Goa has to reach somewhere, become something, and not what it is on the path it's heading. So Miguel, I would like to you have brought this urban gardening into the mix now. Now we spoke about lifestyle changes, we spoke about agriculture, we spoke about lifestyle diseases and urban gardening. Now urban gardening is limited, but basically what you're saying is that people should get into agriculture, or we should be very particular about the foods we eat and the lifestyles we keep. Are you basically trying to collate everything as one holistic approach to life, basically, Miguel?
the reason why we brought the urban gardening course to the biotechnology students,
Yes.
because biotechnology students are the persons best equipped to deal with the organisms that we now use to control insects and diseases, whether it's Beauveria bassiana or Trichoderma viridae. These words don't make sense to a layperson.
Yes.
We use more common names like Baba or Tricho or maybe green mold to tell the farmer. But biotechnology student immediately grasp this, and they're able to know how it works. They do lab techniques, they do microscopy, they do plating, and they know what this organism is in the laboratory conditions, what it does in the field conditions. And so these urban gardening students are part of the future to explain to people in Goa how organic farming actually works. And they can make it work. Together with the agriculture alumni, the biotechnology student can really make it work. And the difference between an agriculture student and a biotechnology student is the biotechnology student is coming from the urban elite. The agriculture student is coming from the rural, middle class and poor. So the inspiration normally comes from the urban elite.
Absolutely.
Drone genes, earlier we used to put a patch on them. Various kinds of applique works, put a patch, we were hiding it. And then people come with a style of tone genes. And everyone buys new jeans, tears them up and wears it. That is the impact of the urban elite onto the whole mass of people.
Yeah, thanks Miguel for being with us today and for trying to make sense of this, and also thank you Shwetakshi for putting that that gelling science and practicality and making a lot of sense of what actually can be done and what cannot be done. As Miguel said earlier, it is in Goa, probably in Goa itself, that this can be done, because Goa has urban, Goa has land, even in the state itself and surrounding, and there are a lot of young people who I have spoken to, we have spoken to over the period of a couple of months, who are very much interested in this, and with people like you who are spearheading the cutting edge technology and having the interest and research and the ability to spend long hours there while the others outside, it is probably possible. I'm not that Goa can be a pioneer in this. Hopefully it is, because this is the type of development we need in the state. Thank you Miguel again. Thank you Shwetakshi again. Thank you very much, and keep watching Goa 365.